Tibetan Plateau. Now if we get a light armored forces with heli lift and helicopter attack helicopters, we're getting incidentally some squadron plus of Apache, longbow. So screw the fucking Pakistanis. I shouldn't use the word, sorry. What do you like? Get on to the Chinese. Let's have the Apache longbows on the Chinese side. You already have 2 regiments of the BrahMos on the Chinese. It's a wonderful thing to happen. We are going hypersonic on BrahMos. You may be aware of it. When that happens, you have a truly, truly formidable weapon. And I said, first arm the Vietnamese. They have the guts to fight. Arm them first with their first year of defense. Before our Andaman Command comes in.
So before arming the Indian Army, arm the Vietnamese, you're saying?
Indian Navy, arm the Vietnamese Navy.
Somebody to fight.
Someone with will to fight. Assuming we don't have the will to fight. Let's assume the worst. We don't have the will to fight. We are too ill-believed. Let's put it that way. We don't have the will to fight. We have lost our will to fight, lost our will to stand up for our interests. Let's arm the people who have the will to fight, bring them in as a factor for the Chinese to consider off the South China Sea. As the battleships come in on horizon, you have Vietnamese hypersonic cruisers right there. Can you imagine what they're going to do, the Chinese? I mean, they'll be quaking in their shoes. So I said, on priority, I remember when I first wrote this about 4 years back, the Vietnamese defense minister came to see me in my center. He thanked me profusely. He said, I wish more people thought like you, things like that. I described the Chinese-Vietnamese history. The history of Vietnamese-Chinese animosity, enmity, the sheer hatred. Vietnamese don't care. And Vietnamese are the one people that has beaten up everybody. Vietnamese talk about 1,000 years of enmity with China. For 1,000 years, Chinese have tried to colonize, make Vietnam an imperial domain of China. 1,000 years they have been beaten back, black and blue. Vietnamese are a unique people. That's all I can say. Think of, in modern times, what they have done. Start post-war. They beat the Japanese because it was an imperial colony. Fine. The Japanese were losing anyway, you can say, okay. But Ho Chi Minh's Vietnamese forces, if you actually look at what happened to the tailback, the tail end of the imperial forces in Burma, the Japanese, the route were in Vietnam. The base route where they had mobilized for the push into India was Vietnam. Across Thailand and the railway that they built and so on and so forth. They beat the Japanese. French came there next, they beat the French. By the way, in the context of 1,000 years of beating the Chinese to pulp, every time they came in, they lost their leg, their nose, and they ran away. Dien Bien Phu, the great General Leclerc goes there, Vietnamese, wretched fools, they're going to beat them up and so on, He loses his pants at Dien Bien Phu. Von Giap, the great Marshal Von Giap, was a sergeant in the French colonial army. He leads the Vietnam forces against the French colonial forces and decimates Dien Bien Phu. France surrenders. America steps in. You know what happened. They beat up on America. Chinese don't get the message. They come in again in 79. Again get the heck beaten, now they run back. They do the next best thing. They declare victory and run out of Vietnam. Right? Aren't these the people we should trust to do, whether they do anything or not with a cruise, hypersonic cruise? Just arm the buggers, you see, and you can see the Chinese will not venture out of Hainan. I mean, we will never have to tangle with the Chinese west of Malacca. Just arm them with the batteries of hypersonic cruise. Hypersonic cruise, you get on a 100-mile route, how much does it take? Please calculate. The damn ship is blasted, that's the end of China. Chinese initiative, naval initiative, advance into Indian Ocean.
Follow-on question here. switching to the west side. We have this look east policy started in Asmara, and China is the major enemy, so on. But there is something called, India is almost, it feels like an island because the land access routes are blocked, okay, with sovereign territory of northern areas completely blocked off. Why and what does it take to open up our land access routes, especially to our own sovereign territory, which is not under our occupation anymore? And, by some calculations, it's a strategic piece of land, which essentially blocks off China from Pakistan from a land access route. So what's your thought around, this whole, there's a resolution standing from 1996 or 93, I think, on that it's still India's sovereign territory and we don't intend to give it up. However, there's no actionable items or any intention that seems to be.
You're talking about the POK?
Yes. POK and northern areas.
No, POK is northern areas.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Look, my considered strategy would be that if you're going to co-opt Pakistan, you cannot think of then detaching POK from Pakistan. Let them have the Kashmir. Let them have the Kashmir.
Even Kashmir Valley?
No, they're POK. They're part of Kashmir, not our Kashmir. Because look what happened, this bit of history that I think is interesting to know. We were 2 days from capturing Muzaffarabad, 3 days, in October of 1948, with the 108 Brigade under Bogi Sen, then Brigadier Sen, who later became Lieutenant General and Eastern Army Commander during the China War. Bogi Sen was commanding 108 Brigade in the valley. That was our main formational strength in the weeks of up to the mid duration of the war, of that so-called war. Overnight, Bogi Sen gets the order from CNC India, Roy Bucher, to deploy 90 degrees north, change your axis of advance, from Naushera and Muzaffarabad across the Neelam River into Kargil. The axis of advance changes exactly 90 degrees. Now Brigadier Bogi Sen is completely confused. LP Sen says back, and it's there in his memoirs, how slender was the thread. Read it. He says, what kind of an order is this? I'm going to take Muzaffarabad. What had happened? This is what had happened. Sheikh Abdullah goes to Nehru, Panditji, if you take Muzaffarabad and if you hold an election, Muslim conference will win. Think. You're going to hold election because you have promised elections. Wonderful thing. But hum gaye. The Mirpuri Muslims that are inhabiting that part of Kashmir, so-called POK, are going to vote for Muslim conference. The national conference is going to be destroyed. Jammu Hindus are not going to vote for us. Hamari to buri halat. He said, please don't do it. Stop your advancement. Hence the order to abandon advance to Muzaffarabad and move north to Kabul. The curious thing is, this set the pattern of India-Pakistan wars. It's a good thing. What I argue is India, despite what our military service and governments, all of you may have read the history book, India never fought a war as far as I'm concerned, in 1947. The best description of India-Pakistan wars, which is the correct description of India-Pakistan wars, are what the great scholar soldier, perhaps the greatest scholar soldier Indian Army has ever produced. Major General D.K. Pilot, who was the DMO Chinese Ops, Director of Military Operations Chinese Ops. He described India-Pakistan wars as communal riots with tanks, which is exactly correct. For the first time, an analysis, a detailed analysis of India-Pakistan wars was done by me. It was published in the Round Table in London, the Commonwealth Journal of International Affairs. And I used General Pilot's template, analytic template. And I asked the General, were you being funny or facile? I think I said that yesterday. And General Monty Pilot was a tall man, they put him in cavalry. He loved horses, they put him something like that. So Bharat, I'm never funny or facile. So I said, okay, so I'll take it as a serious conclusion on your part. You're a scholar soldier of tremendous merit from my respect. I said, I'll use it as a predicate, analytic predicate, to analyze India-Pakistan wars. And sure enough, all India-Pakistan wars fit